This is the Marketing Umbrella Podcast, where it's all about getting the information you need from successful leading marketers to build and grow your digital marketing agency. Brought to you by Itamar Shafir, founder and CEO of Umbrella, the technology platform and brand that is powering thousands of marketing agencies around the country. Find him at umbrellaus.com. Now, here's your host, Kevin Prewett.
Welcome to another episode of the Marketing Umbrella Podcast. My name is Kevin Prewett. I'm your host, and I have a special guest with me today, former television news anchor making appearances on ESPN. Our guest today has helped thousands of people share their real, bold, and authentic voice unapologetically. Nearly a decade of experience in front of the camera has earned her the title of a master communicator. She's helped thousands of coaches lock in their confidence using their real voice to grow their business. She's a co-founder of Girl Power Alliance, helping Christian women grow through Christ-centered resources for personal and professional development. At Girl Power Alliance, they believe there is no competition in the kingdom. It is my special pleasure to welcome Molly Trotter Gomez to the podcast. Molly, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Kevin. Thank you so much for having me.
It's always good to connect, and just want to it's a short bio, but there's so much more to unpack of Molly Trotter. So tell me, what's going on?
Gosh, you're right. It's like, how do you condense decades worth of stuff into a bio, right? Well, I would say the first thing that comes to mind, because I always like to just go what's top of mind, is I just get really excited for what God is doing here on earth. I'm very passionate about my faith and what God has personally done in my life and my personal relationship with him. And so the last part of that bio, Girl Power Alliance, is my baby. I like to say I don't have kids yet, but my business is my baby. To really be able to help women get the right resources they need, learn from other women that have good fruit in their lives, right? You never know what somebody's doing behind closed doors, and we're learning from people all the time, but you should be picking on who you're learning from. And for us to be able to provide a platform where all the women that are inside of this community, the experts in a variety of areas for personal development or professional development, that love the Lord, and that's their foundation. It's a place where women can feel confident. I can come in here and I can learn and I can grow in the gifting that God's had me in. And it's amazing to see this community grow globally so quickly. We officially launched in June of 2020, but we pre-launched a peer-to-peer marketing opportunity where actually allows women to create financial freedom inside of our community March of this year. God gave us a big vision and we're like, okay, if you say so, we'll step into it. And watching what he's doing is really exciting because you can look outside of our four walls and see that the world's just depressing. You can scroll on Instagram. If you dare to watch the news, for me, being a former news anchor, I don't even touch the news. I'm like, no, thank you. I don't want to be depressed today. But I continue to pray for what's happening out there, but I'm focused on my vision on being able to help women just ignite what God has put inside them. And so it really fires me up.
As a sports lover, when, I kind of lost focus after ESPN. So tell me about that ESPN journey that you've made.
That does not surprise me, being a male watching sports. Gosh, I remember growing up and ESPN was glued, or just, an NBA game or a football game or something was always glued to the TV, sports related. I grew up between two brothers. So I knew very early on.
Have a chance.
I didn't have a chance. No.
Never got the TV remote.
Oh, no, but not even that. It was like, I have always been an athlete my whole life, whether it's playing soccer, running track. I played volleyball through college, collegiately. So I just loved sports, but basketball was something I was like, I want to be a sideline reporter. I want to be the Lisa Salters in the NBA, just asking those questions. And so I got a taste of ESPN. It wasn't in any big sport. It was in the sport of handball, if you know what that is. Mm-hmm. But it was one of those things where as I looked more into it, I was like, this is a very interesting life that you have to lead and all of the things. And sure, was it exciting? Yes. But as a woman, I was like, do I really want to go through all of that? I'm just going to leave it to your imagination. Y'all can figure it out. But it was a time where I was like, I thought I was going to do this for the rest of my life. I got a taste and God quickly shut that door. So some of those things that look really attractive on the back end, it's not all it's cracked up to be. When I was in television, being on, doing general news stories, or maybe being a weather forecaster or covering breaking news, people are like, oh my gosh, you're on TV. And I'm like, and they're like, you're famous. I'm like, no, I'm not famous. My job is just more public than everybody else's. But again, that wasn't all it's cracked up to be because the money was horrible. The time off was non-existent.
Long hours. Yeah.
Long hours, toxicity. And I'm like, people glorify these things, but really the livelihoods on the back end is just in shambles.
Yeah. And it's interesting that your transition. So walk us through that as you kind of stepped out of the kind of the broadcasting space and stepped into, I mean, you really stepped into a business, kind of the business space from that. So tell us what was that transition?
Yeah, I never really saw myself ever as an entrepreneur. And my first taste of it was the field of network marketing. Now, you're not fully an entrepreneur, right? Because basically you're kind of like you're marketing for somebody else's business, but you have really low overhead. If you think about it, you can get a business started for hundreds of dollars, but any other brick and mortar corporate type of business, it could take tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands or more dollars to get started. So I got my taste in that with some nutrition products. Being a workout fitness junkie, I'm like, yeah, sure, let me try it. But then it just made sense. I'm going to use these products. Why wouldn't I share it? People love how, just open and authentic I am about this is my journey. And they would always ask questions. So for example, if I'm going to go refer the restaurant down the street, but they're not going to give me a discount for referring 10 people in there, that, whatever, they're not going to do it. But if I have other products, I refer it to people, they love the results, so on and so forth. Why not get paid off the work that you're doing? So I got that taste of it. That grew into tasting the network marketing side, had some success there, got into the digital marketing side, worked with my brother-in-law for a little bit who has a digital marketing agency, learned a lot about building a successful online coaching business, ended up building my own, loved it. That's where, you heard in the bio, helping people create their real, bold and authentic voice, having that on-camera confidence. I love that because so many people have a voice. They just don't know, what do I share? How do I use it? How do I show up on social media? So I created a lot of success from that and I absolutely love it. But all of that came to a point where there was a pain point for when it comes to women, a community, like-minded, and learning from people with good fruit. So in my consulting agency, like I mentioned earlier, you're looking around, you're like, there's a lot of really great coaches out here, but who am I learning from? Like you're great on the outside. You have all the worldly things that I want, but like kingdom principles for me, I'm like, that's the stuff I care about, the stuff behind closed doors, the stuff that most likely people don't want to share. So I really had partnered with some women. We had this vision of creating something where women can, again, learn in a safe place, no competition in the kingdom, which if we know anything about women, we're constantly in competition with each other, how we look, what we're doing, this and that. And it's like, the only person you should be in competition with is yourself, the person you're looking back into the mirror. But the enemy wants us to be in competition with everybody else because then we're distracted from what our true goal is for that day or whatever. So I know that's a really long story short, but when you look back on your life, at least for me, I've seen from the news until now, everything I've been in, network marketing, business consulting, to what we've built here inside of Girl Power Alliance, where we're literally bridging the coaching, online coaching, course creation space, and the peer-to-peer marketing space to create an opportunity for women to learn and also create financial freedom from sharing a platform like this. It just kind of makes me shake my head whoa, what just happened there? All of that came into this one pot and it was all on purpose, right? So many of us look at the past being like, oh, I want to keep it behind me. I like to look at it as, some of it needs to stay back there, but I'm really grateful for what I learned along the way. It made me who I am.
As I've seen, kind of looked into your website and seen the community that you're building. So let's talk about that a little bit. So, I mean, nobody just wakes up overnight and says, hey, I want to build a community. So how do I do that? So what were some just lessons that you've learned as you've tried to, I know that's kind of one of your primary roles in the GPA is to do that. So what are some lessons learned that you've seen from community building and strengthening and really nurturing community?
First of all, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. People will jump into that. Oh, I want to create it. But I will tell you, most people don't because it's a lot of work. And we have such a divinely appointed team that the people that are in this, the four of us that really spearheaded this and built this, I mean, we're all so different in our skill sets, but without us coming together, work together, there's no way. I mean, you would just be night and day, no sleep, all the above. So having a team and really exercising their skills and strengths is so important. So that was first and foremost. Outside of that, it's how do you enroll other people in your vision? Not only that, when you share your true mission and vision of what you're doing, what we have heard time and time again is God gave me the same vision, or I've been looking for something like this, or my favorite one is I never knew I needed this until somebody shared it with me. And I'm like, that's beautiful. But the only way we got to that point is back up a little bit. When we first started in 2020, we created a tiny little affiliate program, right? Like $10 per member per month. You can refer here. But we were like, nobody can create anything off of that. Like that's chump change. That's cute, but it's not really going to go anywhere. Well, with the expertise that we've had in network marketing, there's aspects of like, okay, people have network marketing PTSD. We don't want that here. But there's beautiful parts of creating a compensation plan that will be able to create financial freedom for women here. How do we exercise that? So building a community where then we added that into the play. Now you have other people singing our praises, so to speak, going out there and marketing for us, that PR strategy, if you will, right? Because it's the outside coming in, not just the inside saying, hey, come look at us over here. That was really key. So strategic partnerships, collaborations, adding a program in there like the peer-to-peer marketing side was key because that gets it to move faster. And that's how I know just in this short pre-launch time that we've been in, how big we've gotten and how vast it's gone from Australia to Canada to Ireland, all over the UK, other countries, India, other places on board, Pakistan that's coming into play. It's like, okay, wow. How does that work? You get more people enrolled in the vision into something that's bigger than them. That is super important.
I love that. I think I wrote down and said, community building is enrolling others in your vision. I mean, it's almost an invitation for them to come alongside something that you've cast vision for, so to speak. But you've got to be really good at telling that story. So how do you, when you first started, how did you kind of drill down and say, okay, how am I going to craft this story that is going to cast the vision that I want to cast in as kind of the pre-community stage?
That's such a great question. Well, first and foremost, I have been in the communication space for a long time. So, talk about like divine,
I'm
like
a trained pro.
Exactly. Like you have the person that knows, okay, here's the essence of what we're trying to create. How do we create a succinct marketing message? And then how do we go out there and show it the way that people want to connect with, right? Through building, your personal brand. I've been building my personal brand for well over a decade, and there's been different variations of what that's looked like. Mm-hmm. But I've always said, here's Molly, take it or leave it. And this is what we're doing. And the more authentic and vulnerable you are, the more people connect with you because that's what they want too. They can sniff out, they say dogs and bees smell fear. Well, people can too. They can sniff out if there's a fraud, if there's something not authentic about it. So anyways, all that to say is you came to quite literally a master communicator, well over 10,000 hours of doing this type of work to figure that out. But the biggest thing when it comes to any community or even a program is you want to identify what are the top 3 problems that your audience has. So even before that, you got to get your target audience. Who are you trying to attract? The age, the industry, and then what are their problems? Then you want your marketing message to be, okay, what are those solutions? Those 3 solutions to the 3 problems. So for us, it's Christ-centered resources, finding resources where you have women that have that similar faith foundation. Number 2, you want to have a place of growth, right? So personal, professional growth. So everything correlates and comes together. Most people just want the professional growth. How can I make more money? Better strategy. But if you don't fix things in your personal life, like maybe, your walk with the Lord, the rotten relationships in your life, your health is garbage, it all plays a factor. And the last piece is the financial freedom part. With everybody just going through a pandemic globally, inflation hitting everybody pretty hard, and then a recession right around the corner, we need to figure out how can we add more to our bottom line, period. And what's a way that we can do that that's leveraged without going to physically trade time for money, like at a job going somewhere. This is something that you can do at home. So those were our pain points. We crafted that in a message, and the verbiage has fluctuated a little bit over the last couple of years. But the part of your marketing strategy is you want to, keep refining. And then because we have a field, right? Our ambassadors, I'm, head of the field of listening to what do they need, doing 3-way calls. I'm constantly listening to what they're hearing. And then just how can I tweak this to make it that much more intentional? So we can just hit right to the heart of this is who we are, black and white, full transparency. Is it a place for you or maybe it's not?
What is the difference between in your space between building a sales team and building a community?
Hmm. That's a great question. Honestly, here they really go hand in hand because our sales team, i.e. our, ambassadors, they are the ones that are building the community because they're sharing the testimonials of the breakthroughs that they're having and what they're going through. They're sharing, what's happening in their lives, just what's transpiring. So that pours into the community. Also, having a place where women feel comfortable to like just be themselves. Right. So that comes from the top down. So what we have to put out there corporately, which we post every day, in our Facebook groups and on our Instagram, building up our YouTube channel, things like that. We have a lot of podcasts that go out, I think like 1 or 2 a month. So it's showing, leading from the front, right? So it's building a community of here's a place of hope, like-minded women that pray together and women that are intentional to grow. Then the sales team or the ambassadors that want to share this opportunity, they're flooding right in and they're part of building that community because they're real live testimonials of real people of this is what's happening. The financial breakthrough or the breakthrough in my marriage after 20 years of thinking like I was just going to file for divorce, but this got revived, or generational curse from their family that has been in the bloodline for years, you name it. So really for us, it goes hand in hand, which works really well.
And this translates cross borders internationally. No, I mean, what are the barriers, I guess, to community building when you have left the contiguous 48 states here? So what does it look like to do this in Pakistan or Australia or Austria?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, some of the biggest barriers are obviously there's not everybody's an English speaking country. So some of the first dubbing of the membership that we're going to do is Spanish and Portuguese. We have one of our co-founders is from Brazil, and she has a huge, Portuguese following or Brazilian following. So there's that. So that getting it in other languages, that's one. But other than that, it's like if somebody has a card and they speak English, they're good to go here because you swipe the card, obviously, or you put your card information in, and then we're global as far as like the currency translation, and they can come here. So really, if you have a card and you can speak English, you're good to go. So that's nice. But that took us a while to find even a system on the back end that could be so global, thus being such a new company. So that has stuff in and of itself. But that's why I'm grateful for our CEO and founder, Michelle Shafir, and her husband, Bobby. They have had that experience of creating their own network marketing company over a decade ago that ended up, closing down. But all of that experience of what they've brought in here and what they've been able to create here is just been incredible because I would have never known how to do that. So talk about everybody in their divine space.
And do you use influencers at all in your community building or as ambassadors, or how do you talked about strategic partnerships? What does that look like? Is it for more product based, or is it more, just you're trying to take these two different communities and kind of merge them together in kind of a joint partnership type thing? What does it look like to strategically partner with somebody or with something?
Yeah. And I'll probably even strategic partnership is really like the label of it, but we'll even actually refine it more and say collaboration, because partnership might mean differently for everybody. But there's actually a lot of different ways people can collaborate inside of our Girl Power Alliance community. So first and foremost, we paint the vision on how to have a financial freedom opportunity through this ambassador program, right? So you can create that financial piece of sharing this platform. We also, all of the content that's inside of our membership, all the courses is curated from, coaches and consultants around the world. So that's a way women can come in and they can actually donate their course inside of the membership. They have a form they have to fill out, there's a vetting process, but they can actually donate their course inside the membership, and then women can learn from that. And then the last piece is we have what's called a power partnership. So that is actually an extension of the membership. So women can come in here, be a part of the community for 3 months, and then they have an opportunity of being an extension of the membership where highly vetted out. These are women that maybe do one-on-one business consulting or copywriting or website design or something that we don't do inside GPA, but women are going to need, and they can be that extension, and our members will get a discount from having those relationships. Because I've always been asked, Molly, who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know? And I'm like, what I do know is when we build out GPA, we need a membership directory. So then women can go find these vetted people and go work with them, because not everybody knows how to hire and vet people out, right? So we're doing that for them, but strategically so they can get on their way and grow wherever they need to. So those are three powerful ways that we're able to bring powerhouses in here. But there are quite a few influencers out there, Instagram, TikTok, wherever, that are looking for strategic partnerships or collaborations of brands they can align with. Influencer marketing is huge. And when you find a brand you can align with, it's great. Product-based things are everywhere, right? Everybody's all about products. But when you have a digital product that has very low overhead, it's instant access, a lot of leverage because everything's built out. It's very attractive. And so we have a lot of influencers that are coming in, peeking in, seeing that. I mean, like, wow, I have a network. I don't have time to create a membership. I would love to collaborate with you and be able to build a passive income, monetize, as well as come in here and learn as well. And there's ways for them to collaborate to share their value too.
So as somebody's interested in this, so what's the entry point? So is it somebody that wants to be, I guess it's almost like an affiliate of whatever the alliance is, and they pay a monthly subscription and they have access to, products, services, whatever that are within this, I guess, alliance. So is that, and are they building their own teams kind of under them, so to speak? What's the model?
Yeah. So basically, when you come inside Girl Power Alliance, we have two products, a basic and a VIP membership. The VIP membership is really for women that are called to lead. So that has over 100 modules, our 16-week Radiant Leadership Academy. So it's a biblical leadership certification course that is now ICF accredited. So for all those that are coaches out there that are like, ICF is one of the biggest accreditation programs, you can actually take this course and get credits towards becoming a certified coach, which is cool. That's our most popular. So that's, one way. Then the other way is the basic membership, which has 80 modules, and then you get 2 live calls a month. So actually the VIP membership, you also get 3 live calls a month. So there's live calls, there's modules, there's the Radiant Leadership Academy, depending on the membership choice. And it starts anywhere from $80 a month and goes up to $150 a month. So very affordable, considering if you were to go hire one coach out there to help you in one thing, it's going to be at least 10x that. Yep. So that's something where, you can go on our website, you can see all this. We're very transparent. That's becoming a member. Now, if you're like, I want to get my membership paid for, or passive income sounds great to me, what are you talking about, this leverage model? You can become an ambassador. So there's just like an annual fee of like $47. You become an ambassador, you get all the tools, you open up the compensation plan, either membership. So for people that are familiar with this model and network marketing, it's very like low cost to entry, but we did that on purpose because there's a lot that you can learn here in the person that you become through the training. So for those that want to build a team here, the membership is the training. So like, it's not like you have to go in and train your team on this, that, and the other thing. Corporate does a lot of trainings, and there's also just a lot of trainings inside of the membership so they can really learn and grow. And we have a really simple system. So we've made it as simple as possible. 2 products, a simple system, you plug in, and then you decide, is this something I want to share or not? And either way, it doesn't matter to us because we want you to grow here, just however that looks like to you. So we just want to keep it simple and give people an opportunity to like cancel out the noise, turn off the Netflix, find something that actually can pour into you. And then how can you build something from it that's going to be a legacy, substantial?
Right. And this is mainly coaching services you're talking about? Are this mainly made up of coaches of this community, or is that just one vertical?
Yeah. So the content inside of the community with the live modules the modules and the live calls that we have, either 2 to 3 live calls, depending on the membership every month, they're from other experts. Yeah. Some other coaches from around the world. So yeah, it's a great variation of different people, different backgrounds, all the above.
So you kind of curated content within this kind of like a catalog of content that you're providing as your service. So it is really an interesting model. And so the coaches, do they also receive benefit from providing the materials in the I guess as a part of your service offering as well?
Great question. So the benefit really is, you can come in here and take advantage of the ambassador opportunity of being able to, now you have a platform where you can have your content on it, but then also look at it from a bigger perspective. There's dozens of other people that have a good foundation that are experts in other areas. And now you get to leverage all their content at a very low price. That is a huge benefit for a lot of people. And now when you share this with other people, you can, start building that passive residual because other people are going out there and sharing it. But with coaches, what I've noticed, because I was there too, it could be hard to build a sales team, a good sales team that can close for you, right?
Yeah.
So here, this is very simple model, simple to understand, and you can get out there and share it pretty quickly, and you have a team to do it. That passive residual looks really good when you're not making any deals and any sales on your end because you just don't have time, or you're caught up doing other things in the business, or the kids need this or vacation that, right? Like having something that can work for you. And, honestly, like 2 years of really hard work can be life-changing. Even 6 months, depending on how much of a go-getter you are, can be really life-changing. And that's what we're seeing inside of here of women who've been a part of other opportunities, but they're letting them go because they're like, this is so simple. Because of it being a digital product, it just makes it like easy to plug and play.
How would you see, and maybe there's no intersection at all, but how would you see say marketing agencies that are marketing to coaches? How would you see any intersection at all in this space? And, if you were speaking to marketing agencies, if they wanted to say, how do we, make this connection? How do we become a strategic partner, to also try to reach the same, maybe clients that you're trying to reach?
So meaning like if other people wanted to have like a similar model?
Well, no, I'm thinking more like, you have agencies out there that aim at different like specific industries. Like if they were aiming specifically at the coaching industry or consultants or whatever that really was in that space, how do you see any overlap at all in what they're trying to do as far as marketing for these coaches and the community that you're trying to build? Because it seems like a similar model of some, in some ways. You're obviously doing it differently, and providing it as part of kind of the grand selection of the catalog there. But I'm just trying to, I guess, put pieces together that maybe different ways to attack the whole coaching space. And you've been in it for a long time, so how what would you see as far as any direct correlation or partnership opportunities there?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen other people that have communities that are collaborating with other coaches. Like they bring in their content and they don't have the network marketing model like we have, but that's how they leverage their community, right? And how they choose to do it, whether people have to pay to donate their course, people pay them to have their courses. I mean, I've seen it a bunch of different ways. So we're not the first to have this concept. We're just the first that we know of to add the multi-level model on the back end to pay people out that want to share it. So I do know it's still a newer concept. Like there's not a ton of people doing it, because what I've noticed is that there's some people out there that just want them. They want their content. That's it. They don't want to leverage and collaborate with other people. One of our taglines is there's no competition in the kingdom. It's actually a huge benefit for everybody to share. If you have 10 people in their area of expertise, that's 10 different things, different perspectives, personalities, backgrounds, all of that, rather than 10 things of Molly. You're going to get sick of Molly after a while. And it's just like Molly, 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 rather than let's raise other people up, because you never know, what's going to come from that. And it's a lot more lucrative and then leveraged, and not as much time when you have other people bringing their stuff in that's already done, if that makes sense. So hopefully that answers your question, but I know it's still a semi-new model to the market because a lot of the world just caught up digitally because of the pandemic, right? We've been in this for a while, but when you think collectively, like this was probably like a foreign concept to some of your listeners that are listening to this. Like, I've never even heard of this before. Yeah,
for sure. I love the term you used that talked about leveraged. That is such I think it's sometimes overused in talking the marketing space, but it is a very powerful word if it's done well, because it's exponentially allows you to broaden your service offering and grow and scale, much broader than you are actually able to on your own. But as we're kind of transitioning to the final stage here of our chat, I just want to ask you one more time, just as far as just building community, that is such a crucial, I think, step in scaling, any business is like really building and not just a community of customers, but really an engaged community of fans, really like, was it Raving Fans, the book that was written. So what would you say are one or two things that you've learned about that how you can really keep people engaged, whether they're your ambassadors or whether they're your clients or your customers or whatever it is? How do you keep them engaged and retain them through this community idea?
Yeah, that's so good. I mean, you got to give them what they want. So what do they want? Like your target audience, like what is it that they want? And you go back to those pain points, right? Three things that everybody wants is they want to be seen, heard, and appreciated. What are ways that you can do that? Also, people are always looking for that injection of hope and inspiration. So no matter what, that will never be something that you could just let fall to the wayside, because people are always looking, okay, I'm scrolling and there's enough negativity on their feed. How can you, when they come to your group or your platform, give them that dose of hope and inspiration and something new that they can learn, right? Try to figure out and get into the mind of your target audience. What is it that they want to see? Think about the stuff that you're posting now. Would you even want to read it and see it? This makes you dive in deeper to what am I sharing and why would anybody care about it? And a lot of people just want to throw content up there and just it's kind of like the spaghetti on the wall strategy. Throw it on the wall and one noodle, it sticks. That's what I'm going with. That might not be the right noodle, the right strategy. So you want to really dig down deep, being like, okay, what are they actually going to get value from? And this is where I think a lot of people struggle, because there's like, oh, I just need to put something up there, but I got to go make sales. If you're not building that business brand, that personal brand, and pouring in content that's actually going to provide value and maybe get people to look at things differently, think of things differently, whatever that may be, give them hope, something where they need to keep coming back for more, then that's where communities die. So consistency obviously is huge when it comes to that. Being really consistent is massive. But there's so many, you just got to be creative of like, how can I stay in front? And again, don't try to do this alone. Doing this alone is going to burn you out so quickly. So how can you partner or collaborate with other people? And that's why our whole membership is literally like a collaboration of all these other people. Otherwise, we would be burnt out like long ago, but we didn't want that because we were trying to design a business around our life, not the opposite, right?
Right.
And have that freedom piece. So hopefully that's helpful. The content is something a lot of people just kind of like, oh, haphazardly, or let me go copy this from somebody else. You need to dig down deep, because every day, every hour, there could be different revelations that you're getting from a book you read, a podcast you listen to, this podcast. Write those down. My notes section of my phone is crazy busy of all these different revelations I get, but then I put that up as content later, whether it's for myself or for our company, in our groups and our Instagram, stuff like that, because other people are going to get revelations off your revelations. And it's meant for you to share, because I really believe that your story is meant to be mentorship to somebody else. So share those things. And that's how you get people engaged, is stuff that like, I want to read this. I'm excited. This is motivating me. That's key.
I think one thing you mentioned was just being constantly aware. It's sometimes we kind of like walk through life like a zombie here. Just be constantly aware of the things that the inputs and the things that you're seeing and experiencing. And it's really interesting to see. And on social media, it's an interesting follow, to see the things that you post from time to time. And it really is. It is this life. It is, you can just tell, this is, hey, this is what I thought about today. Here it is, just in a very raw and real way. But we want to shift a little bit right now to a fun part of the chat. So this is our kind of our rapid fire questions. They seem very disparate, but there is certainly a method behind the madness. And I love it because it's interesting when we start this, the guests start smiling and it's like a nervous smile. They're like, so what is he going to ask? So first one, did you get along with your parents growing up?
I did, yes.
And your two brothers?
For the most part, being the only girl, we had our bumps and bruises, but yes, for the most part.
Do you have a pet?
I personally don't, but I'm obsessed with my mom's dog. It's a golden wiener dog, if you will, named Max. He's like the best, but no dog for me yet.
Well, you're too busy. You try. It would be
my
neglected.
husband's like, wait. And I'm like, but I want an animal to come home to. So it's coming.
What time do you wake up in the morning?
Ooh, 3 a.m.
What?
See, now I got you being like, huh? What is that?
What in the world? I thought I was an early riser. What time do you go to bed? You get like 7?
I lay down at 7. Yep. And I fall asleep around 8.
Go to sleep at 8 and up at 3. So it's light when you, certainly when you go to bed.
It is. We got some really good blackout curtains.
Ideal vacation anywhere in the world. Money's no object.
Australia.
Why Australia?
I've met some just amazing people over there. I love the island life. I would love to be there long enough to pick up the accent a little bit. But it just seems like it would just be something so different. I mean, from how they were colonized as a country, the beaches, the wildlife, everything. And again, it's on the other side of the world. So it's just like, why not do something totally different?
So this question, I think you've covered this virtually the entire interview, but are you a person of faith?
Absolutely.
So how does that impact your business?
It's the being of my business. It's the foundation of everything. So many people we've heard forever don't share politics, don't share your faith, your religion, whatever. But why? Like when you share who you really are, you actually bring in the right people and you repel the right people. But we've been in this gray area for so long. So I've definitely repelled people and I've brought in the right people. I don't do it in slamming it down people's throats. I don't believe that's how it should be done. You should do it in truth and love. But my faith is how Girl Power Alliance even came to be and how we started this thing. And a lot of women said the same thing. I want that component in there because it's what's been missing, because society tries to edge it out. So I think people are really waking up to that matters in what you do, and they want to be a part of places that have it.
One thing that you could change about the business climate today, what would it be?
The self-made mentality, that whole like, it's me, it's all me. Nobody is self-made. We have all learned from other people, experiences, whatever. And so that whole like, it's me, self-made, that pride, that ego, it's ugly. And I can say that because I used to have a lot of it until, pride comes before the fall. And I got humbled so many times. I should have prosthetic legs at this point. I just got cut at the knees. So that self-made mentality, I hate it. And I wish it would leave.
As we close today, I mean, we talked about a lot of things and I really appreciate you taking the time today, but is there one thought that just kind of come to mind that you think would be, hey, this would really just kind of wrap this up in a nice little bow here at the end? And if you're really speaking to people kind of in the marketing space, in the community building space, what is one nugget that you would like to leave them with? And then tell us where the best place to find you online.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, girlpoweralliance.com is a great place to see like what we're doing inside of that community. You can find that on Facebook, you can find it on Instagram, very simple. But the one thing that always gets highlighted to me is really believe that your story is meant to be mentorship to somebody else. And the way you differentiate your marketing message and who you are and what you're trying to accomplish is understanding, okay, what are people doing around you? How can you be different? But when you dig deep down as to why you're doing what you're doing, and again, finding those 3 problems, finding those 3 solutions, you got to drill down and get really, really clear on those points. And when you do, you'll be able to separate yourself. And when you show up authentically and you share the highs and the lows of what you're doing, like bring people in. People aren't looking for your perfection. They're looking for your authenticity. But so many of us are like, oh, it has to be perfect before I share. Oh, I've had more imperfections and people loving on that than the opposite. They're so tired of the fake and the perfect, quote unquote. So just go out there and start messy, and be able to be like, you know what, this vision was given to me and I need to be a good steward of it. How can I get a good message out there and find people that align with that? Because through my vision, other people are going to get enrolled by that when I'm showing up authentically. Start messy, but be real. I mean, what a way to wrap us up. And once again, what another great episode of the Marketing Umbrella podcast, where we talk with successful marketing experts about ways to build and grow your digital marketing agency. Molly, thank you again for just taking time today. I really appreciate it and wish you the best. Have a great afternoon. Thanks again.
Thank you for tuning in to another great episode of the Marketing Umbrella podcast, where we provide the information you need from successful leading marketers to build and grow your digital marketing agency. To learn more, go to umbrellaus.com.